How did a tournament that once struggled for attention become one of cricket's biggest global events? How did Australia build the greatest dynasty in women's T20 World Cup history? How did an 18-year-old Hayley Matthews shock the cricketing world? Why is the 2020 final still considered a turning point for women's cricket? And as the world turns its attention to the 2026 Women's T20 World Cup, how did this remarkable journey begin? From historic triumphs and heartbreaking defeats, to legendary players and unforgettable moments, this is the complete history of the Women's T20 World Cup. To understand how far women's cricket has come, we first have to travel back to 2009, the year the first Women's T20 World Cup was held. At the time, T20 cricket itself was still relatively new. England was selected as the host nation. 8 teams arrived with one goal: to become the first Women's T20 World Cup champions. The tournament featured England, Australia, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, South Africa, and the West Indies. Every team knew they were part of something historic. England quickly established themselves as one of the strongest sides. Led by Charlotte Edwards, England played fearless cricket. Their batting was aggressive, their bowling was disciplined, and their confidence grew with every match. Waiting for them in the final were New Zealand, a team that had been consistently strong throughout the tournament. The stage was set, the first Women's T20 World Cup final. England defeated New Zealand and lifted the trophy. The celebrations were emotional, not simply because they had won, but because they had become pioneers. The first champions of a tournament that would go on to change women's cricket forever. Every great story has a beginning, and in 2009, the Women's T20 World Cup took its first step toward becoming one of cricket's biggest events. If the first tournament introduced the Women's T20 World Cup to the world, the next few years would belong to Australia. Every great sport eventually witnesses the rise of a dominant team, a side that raises standards, and in women's cricket, that team was Australia. In 2010, the tournament moved to the Caribbean. Australia entered with a talented squad determined to make a statement. Throughout the competition, they played with confidence and authority. Their batting was powerful, their bowling attack was relentless, and when the final arrived, they faced New Zealand, a familiar rival. But this time, Australia would not be denied. They claimed their first Women's T20 World Cup title. It was a significant moment, not just because they won, but because it marked the beginning of something much bigger. 2 years later, in 2012, Australia returned even stronger. The team had developed a winning culture. They expected success, and once again, they delivered. Australia defeated England in the final and retained their title. Back-to-back championships. A clear sign that a dynasty was beginning to emerge. Then came 2014. By now, Australia had become the team every nation wanted to beat. The pressure was immense. Every opponent raised their game against them, yet Australia continued to find ways to win. In the final, they faced England once more. The rivalry added extra drama, but the result remained the same. Australia lifted the trophy again, 3 titles in 5 years, an extraordinary achievement. What made this Australian side special wasn't just talent, it was consistency. Whenever the pressure increased, they seemed to become stronger. The foundations of one of cricket's greatest dynasties had been built, and at the heart of that success were players who would go on to become legends. Names like Ellyse Perry, Meg Lanning, Jess Jonassen, players whose influence would shape the future of women's cricket. By 2016, Australia had become the undisputed queens of T20 cricket. 3 titles, years of dominance. Whenever a tournament began, one question was always asked: who could stop Australia? For most teams, the answer seemed simple: nobody. But cricket has a habit of producing surprises. And in 2016, one of the biggest surprises in Women's T20 World Cup history was about to unfold. The tournament was hosted in India, a country where cricket is more than just a sport. Crowds were growing. Interest in women's cricket was increasing. Australia once again looked unstoppable. Match after match, they demonstrated why they were the defending champions. Their batting was explosive. Their bowling attack remained one of the best in the world. But they face West Indies in the final, a talented side, but not many expected them to defeat the mighty Australians. Australia posted a strong total. The target looked difficult, and Australia's supporters could already sense another trophy. But one player had other ideas, Hayley Matthews, just 18 years old. Fearless, confident, unstoppable. What followed was one of the greatest innings ever played in a Women's T20 World Cup final. Australia suddenly looked vulnerable. The impossible suddenly felt possible. And when the winning runs were scored, history had been made. The West Indies were world champions. Australia's dynasty had been interrupted, and women's cricket had gained one of its greatest underdog stories. A reminder that no matter how dominant a team becomes, nothing in cricket is guaranteed. The greatest teams are not defined by how they win. They are defined by how they respond to defeat. After losing the 2016 final, Australia returned stronger than ever. In 2018, they reclaimed the trophy by defeating England in the final, and reminding the world why they remained the standard of women's cricket. But it was the 2020 World Cup that changed everything. Playing at home against India, Australia dominated the final in front of more than 86,000 spectators at the MCG. The result was impressive. The crowd was historic. For many fans, it was the moment women's cricket truly entered the global spotlight. 3 years later, Australia added another chapter to their legacy. They defeated South Africa in the 2023 final and secured a sixth Women's T20 World Cup title. 6 trophies, more than a decade of dominance. A dynasty unlike anything the tournament had ever seen. For years, New Zealand had been one of the most respected teams in women's cricket. But one thing was missing: a Women's T20 World Cup trophy. In 2024, that finally changed. Led by outstanding performances from Amelia Kerr, New Zealand battled their way to the final against South Africa. The pressure was immense. The stakes were historic. But New Zealand held their nerve and completed one of the greatest moments in their cricket history. After years of waiting, they finally became world champions. A new champion had arrived. As the Women's T20 World Cup enters its next chapter, all eyes turn to England in 2026. For the first time, 12 teams will compete for the trophy, making it the biggest tournament in the event's history. Defending champions New Zealand will look to retain their crown. Australia will aim to extend their legendary dominance. England will enjoy home conditions. And India will once again chase their first Women's T20 World Cup title. More teams, more fans, more opportunities. And perhaps another unforgettable chapter in the story of women's cricket.